Come on in. Hi, my name's Kim Harrell. I'm a silversmith and jewelry designer. I'm an instructor at the Art Students League, and I'm giving you a studio tour. So we are going to start off with having a look at the cabinet and looking at my work. And then I'll just point out the studio. I share my space with a couple of other artists. Phyllis Ryder, whose work is over here. She's a painter and a printmaker. That's her printing press over there. And her printmaking station. Patricia Wright is my other studio mate. She's a painter and a frequent Art Students League patron. And we have a communal space with working tables that we can all use. And then this is my workshop. In my workshop space, I have my big machine for polishing rings and larger pieces, very carefully smaller pieces, but it's a great thing to have in my studio. This is my desk space for if I want to do any computer work or designing or paperwork. Some storage where my tanks are, my assistant's bench, and when I give private lessons in the studio, people sit there too. This is my soldering station here, and this is my work table where I do some banging and pounding on with my vices and my stakes for forming larger works like vessels. And this is a tumbler machine, which I put in small pieces of jewelry. It tumbles them around, gives them a nice burnished high polish. My ultrasonic cleans off the polish from the polishing machine. And this is my workbench. This is where it all happens, is here. This is a bench peg. And I'll just take you through a tour of some of my favorite tools. So I use a lot of hammers in my work. And so we have my mallets here. And some metal hammers. My raising hammers, one of my favorites. Some more hammers. And even more hammers. This is a forging hammer. And here I have attachments that go onto my flex shaft, which help me do various shaping and finishing techniques that features in my work. And I just want to tell you a little bit about a project I'm working on right now. I'm doing a collaborative piece with in a group called Pink Progression. And I'm doing a collaborative piece with Linda Ladwig, who's a ceramic artist. And we're doing 2 ballot boxes that represent different aspects of women's suffrage, which is what the Pink Progression exhibition is about. Linda created the porcelain boxes in her traditional hand-building technique. We work similarly. We have a similar aesthetic and approach to our work, and we've worked together before making a line of tableware and jewelry. And so this is something we're doing together. So it's still in its infancy, and the exhibition starts June 25th at the Arvada Center and runs till just after the election. So it's exciting, and I'm really proud to be part of this group of women and men. There are some men in the group as well. So that's my studio. It's a small, I think it's about 150, 180 square feet. There's also some other things in my cabinet things like books that I reference that are important to me. Bauhaus is really big. Some artworks, including some silverware. And over here we have some napkin rings in a vessel. And a little display that harks back to an exhibition that Emilio Lobato curated for me at the Boulder Museum of Contemporary Art in November last year. And I like the way he set it up. We use some of the props. These are all natural materials that I have collected and are inspirational to my work. So you got to look up everything. And just to give you an idea more of the boxes, this is kind of a working sketch, working out the locking mechanism on the top of this white ballot box. So my name again, I'm Kim Harrell. I am a silversmith and jewelry designer. I call myself a silversmith based on the European tradition in terms of silversmithing in Europe is more about making vessels and tableware and churchware and things like that, Judaica, functional items that aren't jewelry out of silver. That is my tradition. I was trained in Europe, and I also make jewelry, which you saw in the cabinet, and my aesthetic is very much around a contemporary, minimalist, less is more, low-tech approach to work. So what's important to me that shows in my work is the work of the hand and the tools that I use, kind of celebrating my craft, celebrating the joy that I get out of how I manipulate metal, as that's what I like doing. I have worked for other jewelers in the past when I was training, and I quickly discovered that cleaning castings was not really something I wanted to do for the rest of my life. I really enjoy manipulating the metal directly as possible, using my hammers and forming tools, and that's the joy I get out of the work that I make. I love what I do. I love sharing what I do with clients, with students at the Art Students League, at the community college, and privately I teach workshops. People seem to be drawn to my work because of my approach and the elements that are important to me in the work. Line, texture, shape, and form. They all inform the approach that I take to my work. I'm a very low-tech jeweler, like I keep saying, low-tech smith. As you can see, I use vices and stakes and forming tools, hammers, but I do not use things like rolling mills, or I don't smelt my own metal to then draw it into wire and other things. That is definitely an art jewelry thing that features largely in my community, and I really respect the people who have the skill and patience to do that. But I know me, and even though being a smith takes patience, I have a limited amount of patience. So I enjoy the process very much, but I also like the immediacy of the material. I can make several pieces in one day or get started on several pieces, whereas something like ceramics, you have to wait for things to dry before you can go on to the next stage, the next stage, the next stage. But I could design and make one piece in one day if I absolutely had to. And I've been doing this. I graduated from university in 1996, but I was still making things before that. But that's my official starting date of a business. I've been in this studio for 10 years this year, and Phyllis is one of the first people I met when I returned back to Colorado after living in London for 14 years, which is where I trained and studied with some amazing artists who I still keep in touch with in the British silversmithing community. And I still look to them for guidance and a level of workmanship and craftsmanship. I am involved in the Colorado metalsmithing community. I'm actually on the board for the Colorado Metalsmithing Association. I'm the communications person, and I do their website and do as much as I can, shared with another person, with the social media, reaching out to people, and trying to just keep our community in touch and engaged, which definitely is part of what's important to me with what I do when I have students, clients, talking about the work and meeting their needs. So another thing I wanted to talk about was the kind of work that I create with my clients, why clients come to me, and another reason why I enjoy and still have such passion for what I do is that people come to me for birth gifts, wedding bands, commitment bands, jewelry to commemorate, all kinds of things, and silverware as well. And it means so much to me to be a part of people's lives in that way, that I'm creating something that represents a special moment in time. And the work that I make is meant to last for a very long time when it's that kind of commissioned work. I also do kind of, I don't want to say throwaway work, but I can make inexpensive things too. But design is still really important to me. That's where some of my, I'll just show you my rubber work here. This is a very inexpensive line of work, still using things like rubber and silver and things like can move and are kinetic, and you can wear them in multiple ways. So I like to challenge myself with making things out of maybe non-precious materials, or only using a little bit of precious materials to keep the price point down, and but still make it interesting and different, and it still has it's still true to my aesthetic and my approach to work. I was very much trained around materials, even though I'm a metalsmith and I choose to work in silver and gold primarily. I still love exploring things like rubber, felt, and another metal, steel, and I've created lines of work around that and enjoy experimenting and trying things, just having fun. And often my clients come, they see something they saw that was unusual, and then they want something specific and special around that. So that's kind of me. Like I said, I love doing my work, and I really appreciate the interaction with the artistic community through the Art Students League. And I was really pleased to be asked to do this for you today. And I would really I encourage and welcome you into my studio to take this conversation further or answer any questions you have. I do encourage you to take any of my classes when we are open and I'm able to offer those to you, because that's the best part of it, is just getting your hands dirty, and you can make something in one class with me, and it's kind of incredible, because I think people feel metal is such a difficult material. I don't find it difficult. I find something like clay much more difficult because it's formless. Metal already has a form in wire or sheet and the way that I work with it, and I still have to make something out of nothing. But I find it I like a little fight, I guess. This is why metal is my chosen material. A little resistance. And that's kind of what's going on. I mean, I find it difficult in these COVID times not engaging with my community. I'm glad I can engage in this way. I am starting to have some private workshops, and I do have clients who are willing to come meet with me. I'm still doing some commission work, and I am showing work all the time, and I have a website, an online shop. I'm on Instagram, so you can see what I'm doing, keep up with what I'm doing. And you're more than welcome to find me online or reach out to me through my website with any questions you may have. So I just thank you for your support for the Art Students League. I thank you for your support for artists, especially at this time. And I look forward to seeing you in a workshop in the future.